Okay, so let's go to that article that you actually wrote in Sydney's Child in 1998, and it was actually called Controlled Crying.
Cry Baby Cry.
Or it was on Controlled Crying?
Controlled Crying, yeah.
And what was it called? Cry Baby Cry, was it?
Yeah. And I can't remember the subtitle, but yeah, it was about controlled crying, yeah.
Okay, and what did you hear as in the results of professionals and parents who read that article?
The response to that article blew us both away. The number of letters which were written and calls which we got, it was just enormous. And I went to a conference after that article was written, and the same conference had been held in Melbourne, and they were talking at the Sydney conference about this huge discussion which had happened in Melbourne about the article, and it had an enormous impact. And the response was really polarised. There were a whole range of professionals and parents saying, how dare you criticise this practice, you've got no idea, and it's really good for parents and children, and so forth, and how dare you, a really angry response. And there was also a really heartfelt, thank God you've written this article. And one parent actually wrote, I wish I'd read this article before I had my first child. Essentially, I wish I'd been given permission to nurture my child the way I wanted to nurture my child. And a range of other professionals and parents just saying, thank God someone's finally speaking out against this practice.
Okay, so exactly what was the article about?
Well, what we were saying, just to give your viewers some background, controlled crying has a range of different people think it's different things. So what Annie and I define as controlled crying is leaving a child to cry for progressively longer periods of time and responding to the child according to the clock. So looking at your clock and going in after various people give various recipes for how to do it, but it involves generally increasing the period of time before you go in and respond to the child. And the aim being to teach the child to put themselves to sleep. And what we said in the article is that essentially this is not good for children, that children need their cries to be responded to, that children get distressed for good reason, and that silencing children, teaching children not to cry is not something which should necessarily be our primary aim, because children need to be able to communicate, and crying is often one of their main forms of communication.
And so all the research now is showing that when the child is not attended to, nurtured, comforted, there's actually delayed development. Is it the front cortex part of the brain?
Well, Robyn's more an expert on the brain development than I am. I guess I would be cautious about saying that there's necessarily a delayed development. But what I think we can say is that we know that children whose cries are responded to promptly and consistently do have more positive outcomes in a range of measures, in a range of psychological and physical measures.
Okay.
Yeah.